crazy over my double take.
He is crazy about my dizzy spin, and I go crazy just watching him, you bet. He is crazy about me.
As crazy as whereabouts. Go spot the zing thing. Go spot the zing thing. Go spot. Go spot.
Yeah.
So, hi guys. uh, Welcome back. We are here with a professor of film
Professor
and
of Media Technology.
media technology and other credentials, Mr. Nitesh Kalnad. Hi, sir.
Hi,
Do you
hi.
want to introduce yourself?
I think what you have told about me is more than enough.
Two less.
Yeah, more than enough.
Oh.
Too less, sir.
But yes, I am a professor right now. I am an assistant professor actually at MIT Manipal. I teach media subjects, uh,
Yeah.
which basically include everything from advertising to filmmaking. I have been a film enthusiast and a wannabe filmmaker from a very young age, and I'm trying to do that. I've made a couple of short films and a lot of documentaries and ads.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sir,
that's pretty much it.
who are your esteemed students? Anybody we know?
Yeah, the person who's laughing right now is one of my esteemed students.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
No, but what is wannabe filmmaker now, sir? Now you're a filmmaker, no? Abhi,
Yeah,
you've
but
done it professionally.
yeah, but see, I always wanted to. I always want to actually. I want to have my name on, like the 70 mm. That's the biggest dream a filmmaker always has, right?
Arey, now,
So
but now the whole definition is changed, no, sir?
yes, but then still, there's a difference between owning a classic car and a new car. It's still, you still want that.
Hmm.
Yeah. No matter,
Okay.
like, even if tomorrow my film becomes like a Netflix ka blockbuster, also still I would still want like a theater and a full house board on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. So, sir, do you want to
Hmm.
talk about your upcoming release?
Y-
Arey, we'll do that later, no?
We'll
Yeah,
do that
You
yeah,
later.
want
I
to do it
think
now?
so. Please, people,
Okay. Fine. Fine. Fine.
stay till
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, what we wanted to talk more was about, see, because there has been like a certain boom in terms of, regional cinema that has come up in the last, 5, 6 years, especially in the last 3 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? But like Kannada cinema amongst the four cinemas that exist down south, which is Telugu, Tamil, and Malayalam cinema, is still fairly unknown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's had like it's got like big stalwarts and actors and filmmakers that are well regarded in those regions and a couple of other industries as well, but a lot of people around India and who like film enthusiasts still don't know about them. So we thought like we'll talk to you about a few Kannada films that you'd like to recommend to people so that there can be some awareness about these films, that they're classics in their right as well. And
Yeah. We'll talk
yeah,
about films from pretty much throughout the years, and
yeah,
also I think we'll have some recommendations.
yeah.
So before that, like we just started this new feature. If you've seen our Instagram stories, we just put out a Q&A, and we just asked you guys for questions. And so we'll just take two questions right now from the Q&A. Because we got only two responses. Okay, so first question is from IKNOF1. Okay, so
Sounds like a very real name.
it's an F1 enthusiast page. Like all his posts are about F1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So he asks, what is the ideal way to decode and read a film? I've seen people taking meaning out of bullshit films. So that's the first question we got. Sir, do you want to answer?
Okay. Yeah. See, this. I think the answer for this would be like the same thing why modern art is still relevant. Okay,
Hmm.
because like we have people doing every random thing in the name of modern art and everything. Okay, so same way, art in the sense like the film can have certain meaning, or can, like, it doesn't have to be an entire film what we view as a bullshit film, right? Probably for the person who derives meaning out of it, maybe that scene happened in his life, or his or her life, or they can draw some kind of resemblance to their what they have seen and what they can connect to. So
Hmm.
I think that's what makes meaning for them, and they try to talk about that. But if
Hmm.
you're talking to me about decoding films as such, see, for all the films that I've seen and all the filmmakers that I've spoken to over the years, I think I still can't decode a film when it comes to a first sitting. I'm still an audience who's like just watching the film. Okay, and probably when I'm going over it like second time, third time, to a point where you're like a little bored of the film, the story, and that's when I start concentrating on technicalities, okay, and like nuances of the film and shot and everything. So I think that is what you have to do. You have to watch the film at least a couple of
Hmm.
times, and so that you completely know the story. There is no surprising element that can jump at you and like, draw your attention. And I think that's when you can actually go into the bare bones of the film, and like open it and so-called
Hmm.
decode it. I think that's what it is. I think that's the question, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think? What do you think, Karthik?
I think, like, especially with respect to Indian films and all, I
Yeah.
think before a certain time, like before like the internet boomed and all, if you see some reviews, or if you see some interviews of people, like old interviews, and if you see just anything written about certain films, it seems that when it comes to commercial movies, especially, like, it's not specific to any industry, all across the board, it
Yeah.
seems like a film was like a hit or a flop, and that made it good or bad. Like, that it seemed like there was kind of unanimous opinion on whether a film was good or bad based on its like commercial achievements. So if you see Iruvar and all,
Hmm.
that's like a movie
Hmm.
which later on got like a renaissance, right?
But
Recognition.
don't you
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's the same thing even today? Because most of the films are, people watch them based on how they're marketed and how much
Right,
reach they
right, right.
have.
I think like the general consensus is that, but I think if you want to know what is the actual way to read a film and all, I don't think there is an actual way. Like, it's
Hmm.
like that modern art example only. Like, people can take
Yeah,
whatever
true.
you want from it,
Yeah.
but
But
I
I
think
think.
I think because
Hmm.
film, TV, and all, this is like the most popular art form. Like, in terms
Hmm.
of compared to everything else, I think just generally people somehow come to a consensus that there's a right way to look at this thing, whereas there's
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like, even
Yeah.
if you see some proper critics review of it, or some New York Times review of a film, it doesn't, it's not above your own reading of it. Like,
Yeah.
you can compare it with, like, say, if you're listening to a song or something, you never think
Hmm.
about like what is somebody else saying about it, right? Like, you just
Yeah. Yeah.
see if you like it or not. I mean, that's like
It's
the.
more like personal view
Yeah.
towards
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah,
very
yeah.
particular.
But I think because I think some people are in that kind of herd mentality situation of like, okay, these many people said this film sucks or this film is really good, so I have to
Yeah.
jump on board in this bandwagon. And that's also
Or
unfortunately how films, like good films, get degraded. Like, if you see some Bombay Velvet or something, I don't think it's like as bad as people say it is,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
when it came out, somebody started this conversation saying,
Yeah.
this
It's
is,
bad and
yeah, it's
yeah.
bad, as like the narrative is bad, and everybody
Hmm.
just jumped on board to like
Yeah.
bash that. Yeah.
No, I think
But
it.
then
Sorry, Sanjit. I think it
no, no, it's
also
okay.
depends on what kind of mood we are when we're watching a film.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
Like a film that probably a slower film, a slow paced film might
Hmm.
look very boring to us if we are tired. Like
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
generally
yeah.
I avoid watching very slow and very film which require sinking in late at night, because I generally fall asleep. So I try to watch them, like actively sit and watch them. Whereas action movies and all, keep you there and like make you watch it. So probably like our moods also will depends
Yeah,
on.
definitely. I mean, we've all experienced
Yes.
this thing also of like maybe seeing it for the first time and having a certain opinion, but then maybe seeing it like months later or like years
True.
later, and then completely changing your opinion. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
the kind of reading or analysis that people have on the internet, that which is like the most common form of criticism and all now. That's just like what one person thought of it when they just saw it. Like you don't know how that person's mood was when
Yes.
they saw
Probably
it,
he's
or
had a fight with his wife or a girlfriend or something,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. It's just a random thing, and
yes.
the I think the biggest myth is that there's like a right way to analyze it, or like there's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
perfect criticism or reading of it. Like that is just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But then I think decoding and all of that, like finding interpretation and meaning, should come naturally while you view it, not like
yeah.
purposefully like sit to find something into it. Because I think that also leads to eventual fanaticism about something. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to attack anyone, but like Tamasha fans have like sort of created something around that film, which they think is like, obviously it's relatable to certain people, which is okay, but maybe too much reading into it actually degrades it for like five other people who want to watch it also.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that said, don't you think there are films which are universally accepted as crap?
There are, but then it's like the same, like what I said before with songs, right? Say
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
song might be universally thought of as crap, but then you will like it, but then you don't need to like explain it to anyone because like you relate to it on some level.
Yeah, I think it's majority that plays, the
Yeah.
which dictates the whole game, because
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, if 70% of the people actually like absolutely love it, or like at least they say it's watchable, and like the rest 30% absolutely hate it. I think most of the people who are yet to watch it will go with the 70% rather than
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
I mean, if you
30%.
even if you ask someone their favorite films, like somebody who's not like a total beginner, like somebody who watches films on a regular basis,
Yeah.
they'll usually mention things that are like in like a top 250 list on IMDb, or
True,
like
true,
top
true,
Yeah.
recognized Indian films or
true.
whatever. Like rarely do I see anybody who like has some genuinely unique personal
Yeah.
taste based favorites.
Yeah, yeah. But then that's also like then there are like certain people who want to be edgy and try to find those films also, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the other extent.
I
That's
mean,
like
that's
a
the polar opposite of what
yeah,
we've
it's
been
like
talking,
a
right?
hipster attitude to it.
Like Sanjeet.
So yeah, I am
Yeah,
not a hipster,
For
sir.
for
bro,
for
what's
the
your
Hipster
for
is
the
favorite
for
someone
the
who
film?
gives
record,
half a star to a super deluxe.
Sanjeet has not watched Kirik Party just because everyone has watched it and recommended it. Yes, let it be on records.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I have not seen Castaway also. I have not seen Forrest
Yes.
Gump
See,
also.
this is that hipster attitude that he comes
Yeah,
up
yeah,
with
I
like
am not
once in a
full
while.
hipster,
hipster.
sir. I've never gotten myself to watch them. I have a shame list. No, it's a shame. It's a shameful act of not watching those films. I'm saying that.
Bro, what's your favorite film? Om
I
Darbadar,
don't.
like some art house river called Titash.
What are you talking about?
No, his is what is that? Lal Ghas pe Neela Goda.
Oh my
That to I have
God.
only made
Yeah,
no.
that is his favorite. He watches it on loop.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll watch my film
Yeah.
only, sir.
Please look it up.
Yes, please,
Uh,
please do.
What is the other question?
Okay.
Or
Other question, like I just asked if you want us to talk about our opinion on certain films, and one person sent in Manichitra Tara, which is like the original
yeah,
Malayalam
Bhul
version
Bhulaiya,
of Bhool Bhulaiya.
Chandramukhi.
Yeah. So actually, we can talk about like all the versions, because Sanjeet, I don't think you've seen this, right?
I've not seen Manchitra Tara, but I've seen every other version except Manchitra Tara.
Yeah. So what do you think about it? Like, we'll talk about this later, but you tell me.
I mean, it's a good film. So obviously I watched it sometime in 2007. I think October when Bhool Bhulaiya came out.
This
And I was
question, one second.
genuinely
This question was by Aditya Matthew, by the way. Just saying.
yeah.
Okay, continue.
So yeah, I mean, at that point I was like fairly young, and I was genuinely scared, but I thoroughly enjoyed the comedic parts as well. I mean, it was like that imperial phase of Priyadarshan in Hindi films at that point. Like I
Hmm.
think from 2003-4 to 2007-8-9, he just made like all like every film of his was like a hit at that point in Hindi films, like
Hmm.
Hera Fairy and Garam Masala, Chupke Chupke, and sorry, Chup Chupke, and Hangama, Halchal, Bhool Bhulaiya. So all of these films were like super hits, like massive hits, and most of them were with Akshay Khanna or with Akshay Kumar.
Hmm.
So I think that had like a very certain influence at me. Like I'm still, that imagery of Vidya Balan is still scary to me. But otherwise, I've outgrown those films, and I watched like Chandramukhi, the dubbed version of Chandramukhi on Z Cinema with Rajnikant, and that was like a totally different film altogether.
Hmm.
Even the Venkatesh version of the Telugu version was like very very different. So I mean, they are very particular to those industries. I mean, I can't compare the qualities because like they belong, like how I just said, like they're very particular, very specific to those industries.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like Bhool Bhulaiya is better than Manchita Taro, but I really like Bhool Bhulaiya
No, but you haven't
as a
seen
film.
the other one, no?
No, I have not seen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't compare them, right? Like,
So like the original, it's like a very staple thing if you like grown up in Kerala. Like it's like one of the most
yeah,
common movies that was played on TV.
yeah,
And yeah, it's like just it's like widely recognized as a classic. Like it's like everything. It's like it's got comedy. It's like very serious. Also, there's like some horror parts. Not exactly horror, more like psychological rather than.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I've seen that and the Hindi and this one, it's like a very different tone. Like the Hindi is
Yeah,
much
yeah,
more
yeah.
sort of commercialized.
We were
The
talking.
original,
Yeah, Karthik, continue, please.
yeah. No, that's all. Like just
Yeah.
the
No, yes,
vibe of it is very
just
different.
yesterday, me and Sanjeev, we were talking about this, right, Sanjeev?
Yeah.
About this,
And not
No,
exactly
not
this
exactly this.
film in particular, but
okay.
how films change when they go out of Malayalam industry and
Yeah,
they go
yeah,
into
yeah.
different industries. Like for example, for me, the original still is one of the best, versions of the film. Not because it is the best story. Of course, it is because it is the original, but also because I think the way they have shown everything, like the way that's Malayalam films have a certain amount of like simplicity to it, like down to earth, like rooted, which
Yeah,
I think when it travels towards Tamil or Telugu or Kannada or Bollywood especially,
Hindi.
like
Yeah, Bollywood.
they lose that, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, and you can no longer like I would rather watch a Malayalam film with subtitles or dubbed in Hindi than
Yeah.
watch remade in Hindi, because then like it loses.
See, but then it's also about like for Bhool Bhulaiya, it's a different culture that it
Yes, yes,
caters to,
yes.
right? I mean, pan India audience is like most of them are not accustomed to watching all these regional films
No,
also, right?
actually, if you take Priyadarshan alone, like he said in some interviews that when he's converting it into Hindi, like his main
Yeah,
prerogative is like he's making it more massy, like he's putting
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
True. Yeah.
entertainment in it. Like
Yeah.
he's
I mean,
admitted to
it's
that. So
not.
if you see like even there's
Yeah,
movies like what is the movie like Hera Fairy.
yeah.
Hera Fairy is still
Ramji Rao
fine,
calling.
like that is still
Yeah.
fine. But then the later ones like Billu and all. I mean,
Billu and all though
some of
like
them have like
came when he was like going down anyway,
yeah, some of
right?
them have like suffered cause of this treatment.
I think it
Yeah.
became more and more like that commercial entertainment aspect that you've spoken about became more and more prominent later on also. Like if you see his earlier films now, like if I go back and watch all those Hindi films during that phase that I just spoke about, like the
Yeah.
2003 to 2007-8 wala phase, I think those films were still much better in comparison to that whatever came later on. Whatever, if he was even like remaking a Mohanlal film, I don't know the original name, but like Khatta Meeta and all didn't work at all. Even though like he like the pitch of those films also went a notch higher
No,
in
that was
general.
like
They didn't
because the
work.
original film, it's like that was like a comedy in the 80s, and it was taking place in an era of unemployment, and so that was the main basis of the lead character. But then if you're adapting it to like 2010, like obviously
Yeah,
that
yeah.
will change, especially in Hindi.
I think the multiplex audience cannot connect to that that Malayalam cultural by
Mm.
multiplex audience I mean multiplex audience of Mumbai and like Bollywood basically
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
connect to that cultural aspect where you show that Malayalam film it generally takes place no matter how complicated the story is, how big the story is, how forward the story is, it's still they still keep it like very local. You feel like acha it's happening next door or something, which I think people cannot uh, in Bollywood cannot connect. So if Priyadarshan would have made the same thing like exactly how it was made in Malayalam, I don't think people
Hmm.
would have received it that well.
But then this is just one aspect of the Hindi films that are made, right? There are like some other films that are made like completely differently also,
True.
right? Like you
Yeah.
watch like Udan or Lotera, they're like a totally different breed of Hindi films that you'll see, right?
Yes.
So obviously there are good films that are made. Obviously the larger section is the one that where you have to make money to fund these smaller or the good kind
No,
of
but
films.
what I'm trying to say is, see, even with
Yeah.
Hindi films that are made, like Masan or Udan, things
Uh,
like that,
uh.
it's still, I shouldn't divide, but then it's still a very North Indian culture there.
I
It
mean
takes
then
place generally
like
like
how
if it's
you're
a
talking
village, it
it's
takes place in UP, Varanasi. You have never seen a Hindi movie which takes place
because
in
there is no identity, right?
exactly.
It's like a lot of places that have to be catered, no? If it's like Kerala, then
Yeah,
it's like just one state majorly that they're catering to, right? Like I'm pretty sure it's just like the four or five Malayalam films that come out of Kerala and like become like a rage all over India also at this point now, or like Tamil Nadu. But like Hindi films have to cater to everyone in Kerala also to somewhere living in Punjab or eastern or western state cities.
true.
So that's a totally different way of making films. You can't deny the fact that they have to do it to get to so many people also, right?
Yeah, yeah. But don't you think it's like they focus on like the common person audience, like
Yeah, yeah.
the
I mean,
Hindi?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
the film
Yeah.
becomes more like a five-star hotel cuisine rather than a
Yeah, yeah,
local street food. As it goes higher,
yeah,
it
yeah,
loses its masala and all. It becomes more continental, so that
Hmm.
everybody can
yeah, yeah,
have it
yeah.
and not get a indigestion or
It
something.
becomes a little homogeneous that way, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But then that's the harsh reality of it. I don't think
true.
so. There's going to be any change with respect to the kind of routing of films into certain things because abhi, if you still do it, like there is that whole aspect of having that, um, like that having that aspect which is not very rooted into like a particular place also at times.
Yeah,
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's okay.
We've answered
You
like
can't.
6 questions now, uh,
Yeah,
just from that one
yeah.
about Manichitratar. Okay. So I
so
think we can move on to what we were gonna talk about, which is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
movies from Kannada.
Kannada films, Kannada
And
industry.
so first thing is like I think this is the time when people are kind of exploring new
Yeah.
industries and all. And I think maybe I've heard about say a handful of Kannada films, but I don't know too much about it. Like there are
Yeah,
industries like that in India. Like say if you take Gujarati,
Assamese.
yeah, or Assamese or something, you might have heard of like three or four. That's it. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for Kannada, I want to know like what is the way to get into some of the movies? Like, is there a is there a change from like the old generation to the new that's like very starkly different? Like say in Malayalam or like how is it? So, sir, you can explain.
Okay, so before I answer that question, uh, I would like to start like from where Kannada industry was and where it is today.
Hmm.
Uh, First of all, thank you for calling it Kannada industry and not Kannad.
Kannada.
Yeah, yeah, that's the most annoying thing. It's
Sir,
Kannada.
I am in Bangalore now. Like, I'll
Yeah.
be beat up.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
you're a Keralite man. You cannot call. We are next door neighbors. There is no way
Yeah.
you can call Kannad.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
from Kerala. Yeah.
yeah, you're from Kerala. Yeah, we have the same pain.
Kerala.
Anyways, uh, so if we talk about like way back in 1950s and 60s, if you there are a few directors like
Mm.
Bhagwan, and there are a few, Puttanna Kanagal, one of the most famous directors of Kannada industry. uh, he's almost like let's say uh, okay, you need to help me here. The person in Kerala, there is a very famous director, like old uh, director. He's made some beautiful movies.
John Abraham.
Padma Rajan.
No, no, no. Another person of
How
this.
old? How old?
He's pretty old.
Like 50s,
No, 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 no. Yeah, 50. Like he made
60s.
movies in that time.
I have no idea. Karthik only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Mm.
think if you just Google famous Malayalam directors, you will definitely
Mm.
get his name. Adur
Okay.
Mm.
Gopalakrishnan.
Yeah,
Adur
he made
Gopalakrishnan.
later, sir. Like he
In
made
80s, 90s, right?
80s,
he
90s.
made major, like his main things came in 80s,
Huh.
90s, and he
Okay.
started out in
Yeah,
Yeah.
70s,
yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah. He started out in 70s. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yes, the fame he had, right?
yeah.
So Puttana Kanagal was also like almost like that. He's still considered
Okay.
one of the famous, if not the most. And he has made a lot of revolutionary films, I must say, at that point, because that time, mostly when he came in, mostly the films were about historical things, and basically about dramas which were made into adapted into films. But he came in, and he started writing films, and about society of that time, how society was, how how women's portrayal was in the society at that time, and things like that. It was a very modern take. So that is the reason. So according to me, at least, what I feel was Kannada industry was at the peak at that time in the 70s, when
Hmm.
Dr. Rajkumar was doing the his uh, films like Diamond Racket, and uh, there is another film, like most of like we had movies like James Bond kind of films in Kannada at that time. Okay,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but then it started dipping nearly like 90s, not even 90s, actually 90s also had pretty good films. I guess in early 2000s it started dipping, and
Mm-hmm.
it became a complete shithole at a point. And I guess
Hmm.
from now there is a resurgence of new directors, and new type of concepts which are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want to like understand Kannada cinema, I think you'll have to look into works of Dr. Rajkumar, Dr. Vishnuvardhan, Dr. Ambarish. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Rajkumar and Vishnuvardhan have sadly passed away, but I mean, even Ambarish has passed away recently. So if you see their works, or directors like Putana Kanagal or Bhagwan, or if you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
more recent directors like
Upendra,
Yeah.
obviously
yeah.
most of the film enthusiasts in
Yeah,
India
yeah.
have heard about him. Again, Upendra, I would say, is a master director, and he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't direct a lot of films, and he's still considered one of the best in the country.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but when it comes to acting, I'm not really a great fan. But director, I think he's one of the best. I will talk about probably his one or two films later. Uh,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
yes. Now coming back to the present Kannada era, I think now
Yeah.
uh, even the audience are expecting something new, because they have got a taste of it in the late 2000s. I mean, 2000, sorry, 2012, 13 ish. After that, there have been a lot of movies which probably would have gone unnoticed in the early 2000s, which
Mm-hmm.
have got limelight, and which have people have watched them and appreciated them, and so I think a lot of new directors, new actors are coming in, new concepts are coming in, and people right now, I think, yes, It's getting back slowly. I think it is getting back into what it was at one point of time. Of course, big films like KGF, okay, and
Yeah.
Avane Sriman Narayana, ASN, okay,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
also help in a big way because most of the people know who is Yash, who is Rakshit Shetty,
Right, right,
and
right.
what a Kannada film is like. Right now, and I guess that opens the door for even smaller Kannada films to, like, once they know that it exists. Like, for example, if we watch a good, let's say, Assamese film, okay,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
we are like, acha, there are good films here. Like, let me go in a little
Right,
deeper.
right, right.
You know, I
Yeah.
guess, I guess even the most commercial, like bigger films that we call like pure out and out commercial films, also help in that way. They open the door for smaller films, also, like, for people to uh, understand smaller
Hmm.
films. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So before we move on, like I just want to ask Sanjeet, like, what is the first, maybe our first few Kannada films you are aware of, and
Kannada films.
also, yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
was the earliest I was aware about this artist called Girish Karnad, who like was a fantastic actor and a writer, playwright actually, in his earlier days. I mean, that was the first personality who I read about in the beginning. But then I think my first Kannada film that I watched was Tithi.
He also won a
Hmm.
Uh,
Jnanapita, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, my earliest memory was also from like my first Kannada film. Not the earliest memory was from something that was like fairly newer at that time. Like it was getting all these acclaims and accolades and everything else. And it's a fairly good made, fairly well made film also. So that's the first film that I watched. Otherwise, apart from that,
Who made you watch it, Sanjit? Where did you watch
Tithi.
it?
I was on my own, sir. You made me watch Rama Rama Race.
Acha, acha. Okay, okay.
Then it
Yeah.
was Sir who made me watch Lucia and Rama Rama Re. So I mean, they were like very starkly different, but obviously they were like not just like good, well-made films, but they also had like a lot to talk about in general. Like
Hmm.
it was very universal in its approach also. Like if someone who's sitting in UP is trying to watch on like Prime, like how most of these um, all these OTTs just help you get through that language barrier thing, and you can like just watch films. I think those are the kind of films that people like. This is what I think. Like films like these will also be liked by people sitting in, let's say Delhi or some other place as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Karthik?
Yeah, I think OTTs, sorry, I think OTTs have made like a
Hmm.
big impact on local
Yeah,
films,
yeah, yeah.
like, regional films, so that reach has increased.
Hmm.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I knew Girish Karnad from this thing first, Malgudi days, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think that's how most people know him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, like the general public, like
Hmm,
people
hmm.
obviously know him as a playwright and everything else.
Yeah.
But with respect to movies, I think in school, when I was in like high school, someone asked me to watch this thing, Lucia.
Oh.
And
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's the first one I watched. And for a long time, that was the only thing. And then later on, maybe in like college, like people told me about like Ulidavaru Kandante and
Kadam, yeah, yeah.
some other things, like say those U-turn and what else did that
Hmm.
guy make? Pavan Kumar.
I something else also he made, right? There was another thriller, no?
Hmm. I
I
forgot the
can't
name.
remember.
Yeah, and
Even I
also
forgot.
also Tithi. Like Tithi, I think came out during that time.
Yeah, yeah, around the same 2015, 2016 time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, these were the first ones I knew about. Like, actually, knew very less about the industry like that. I think, yeah, one of the I watched the least amount of films like with respect to South industries from
Yeah,
Kannada.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, same, same.
Yeah.
But then also it's about uh, like people don't get to know about these films. Like these films don't reach people only. Like somehow that Malayalam boom happened in 2019, if I'm not wrong. Like it had already started at some point, but I think it was more or less Kumbalangi Nights, which like pulled catapulted them into like another league altogether.
Yeah, and
Like where an
I think
average
Hindi also was kind of declining at that point.
No, I think it was not Kumbalangi night. I think it was Bangalore days that
Bangalore days, right,
actually,
right, right. No, but
yeah,
but in general,
yeah.
like on like film communities and everything, or even if you go
No,
to like
yeah,
a
that
YouTube comment section, Like go to any
Yeah,
YouTube
true.
comment section of a Malayalam review and you'll be like Malayalam is the best industry, and that has started happening, in my opinion, post like 2018-19 only, like which is around the time
Hmm.
Kumbalangi. I think
True, true, true.
2019 Kumbalangi
No, I
Nights
think,
came.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that was the
But
time
I
it started like rising, and I think from the people who are actively interested in watching films from other industries, Kumbalangi Nights is like the it's like the if it's not the first film, it's like sometimes the only film that they've seen from Malayalam films. But I think Bangalore Days was also
Bangalore Days and
somewhere
Prem.
Premam, no, but
yeah,
not
Premam.
Premam that much
No,
as
no, no.
I've seen.
Premam
Like
was
But
like huge. Like if
Bangalore
you
Days, I've
ask
seen like
Telugu
people.
people, they,
Probably, yeah. But
I think people in Karnataka, it was Bangalore days because that I clearly remember it being like a crazy rage. Everybody's like, "Have you seen Bangalore
mm,
days? Have you seen Bangalore
Hmm.
days?" I guess for me, if it was my opinion, then I think Bangalore days was the one which, for at least for the modern audience, which introduced Malayalam cinema. Till then, see, frankly speaking, at least people whom I knew, okay, or I still know. Uh, Till then, they thought Malayalam cinema was Mammootty Mohanlal.
yeah.
Yeah, once Bangalore days came in, I think yeah, Prithviraj a little bit, but once Bangalore days came in, that is when they came to know about people like Fahad Fasil or Dulkar or Niveen, Polly.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
So, but at that point, still, like these films hadn't gotten that boom. I think now it's like every Malayalam film is seen with anticipation for a lot of people. I think, and like I think this is another year, which is another boom, which has been another boom for all these films. But what I'm coming to is like these Kannada films have certainly not had that kind of boom just yet. Like there is KGF, there is Rocky Bhai and all of that, but it's still restricted to that mass film only, and not just like a normal film which has gotten its due, like publicly or like amongst
true.
a
I
larger
mean,
amount.
not yes, yeah, not as much as Bangalore days, but I think Lucia has got Lucia was the first film which actually put Kannada film back in the radar of film
Yeah,
enthusiasts
yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
who look for good
For
films,
sure.
because till then people were always talking about either old films of
Hmm.
Kannada or like, by old films what I mean is like films like Om and Upendra and those kind of films, and there was a big void in between that and this, and I think Lucia put it put uh, Kannada film back on that, on radar, where people actually started seeking out Kannada films and like trying to find Kannada films, and a lot of people have asked me like
Mm-hmm.
recommend some Kannada films or
Yeah.
something like that. I think that
Hmm.
was post Lucia.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
apart from that, like, what are the like if you can like name a few films that you'd like to recommend,
So let's go
like to
like by
people?
era. Like we can start from early on or like from now, whatever you prefer, sir.
Now I think because now films will be easier for people to get into that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, I would still just mention a few from the early on, if people want to get to know Kannada films. I think, and yes, I should apologize to all the Kannadigas watching this and all the Kannada film enthusiasts watching this, because I did not mention Shankar Nag, and
Hmm.
Kannada film industry cannot exist without
Yeah,
Shankar
yeah, yeah,
Nag.
yeah.
Okay, so yes, he's again one of the greats. Unfortunately, he died at a very early age.
Hmm.
Probably if he was there, then yes, probably if he was there, then Kannada industry would have been, I guess, at a greater height right now. Not probably, definitely. Uh, so yes, that said, if I have to recommend some of the older films, I think for me, one of the films that had the most impact was Ondu Muttina Kate,
Okay.
not Ondu Motteya Kate, Ondu Muttina Kate by Shankar
Okay.
Nag, and Rajkumar was the actor in that.
Oh.
So yes, so if I have to give a gist of the film without
Yeah.
giving a lot out, it's basically about a fisherman who gets a pearl, okay, and what happens in his life after that, how things unfold,
Hmm.
okay, and it was one of the first first films to ever have in Kannada at least have an underwater shot.
Oh.
So yes, it was the first Kannada movie to have an underwater shot,
Mhm.
and it's the whole movie is like made brilliantly. But it's not available anywhere. But if you get your hands on it, I think you should
I just
definitely
checked
watch
it.
it.
It's on YouTube, but there's no subs, obviously. But somebody's
Yeah.
uploaded it on. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay. Yeah, so that is one film. Okay, because I basically like those kind of films which have like a little bit of fantasy, but then it's still there happening in like the normal
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
It's not like Marvel. Of course, I like Marvel, but then it's not a completely different universe. It's just there, like but it's still not there kind
Hmm.
of thing. So I think that's one thing I like. And the second film again is by him only. It's called Minchina Ota. Okay, that is also a beautiful film where again Shankar Nag and his brother Anant Nag have worked together in the film. It's basically about a family of fugitives.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and how they are running from the law and things like that. That's also like one a brilliantly made
Hmm.
film. There are many other, but I think if we're talking about uh, that era, like 80s and all, I think these two will stand out for me.
Okay.
uh, yeah, if we go earlier, I think a lot of movies, Shara Panjara by and you have okay, I'm not getting the name right now. uh, the most of these films, right, like I told you, by Puttana Kanagal and all, which defined the entire filmmaking and the concepts that they would make films on, those films.
Hmm.
Okay, Bangarada Manushya and those kind of films. Okay, coming to okay, then I think it was Upendra's era,
Mhm.
where Om definitely is one of the films but which you should
Hmm.
watch. But then, if you see Om now, I don't think it look like for an audience who is not has not watched a lot of Kannada films and not
Mhm.
doesn't know a lot of a big deal about Kannada film and doesn't know about the director and all those things. I think if you watch Om now, it'll look like a very ordinary film.
Hmm.
Om is, by the way, the original film which Arjun Pandit was made on remake.
Oh, is it
Okay,
the
Sunny.
Sunny Deol movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, so that was a big, huge hit.
Hmm. And this
Okay.
was in the 90s, right?
uh, yeah, this is somewhere in the 90s. Okay, and I like Upendra's films because he came up with another film called as Upendra, and there's a film called Shh, okay, which is
Hmm.
uh, a horror film. Even that is very good
Mm.
if you really want to watch uh, Kannada
Okay.
films.
Yeah.
Now, those are a few films I think you can start with, like if you want to get in touch with the Kannada industry overall.
Mhm.
But then if you're coming now, like if you're talking about, let's say, late 2000s,
Mhm.
say up to like 2020, I think my favorite films, again we have spoken about it. My favorite films are Lucia,
Mhm.
Rama Ramare,
Mhm.
uh, and there are many actually. Um, uh, Rangi Taranga. There's a film called as
Rangi
Rangi
Taranga. Yeah.
Taranga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that and Ulidavaru Kandante. If I had to mention only a few,
Hmm.
there are many more. But I'll talk about four of these. So I like Rama Ramare. It is directed by D. Satyaprakash. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, so I like the film because it's a very very well made film for the budget and that they had.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, they didn't try to make anything fancy or anything. Uh, they have stuck to the bare
Hmm.
minimum
Mhm.
that the film needs. They have not tried to show something that wasn't required for the film. And so I think as a filmmaker, if I'm seeing it as a filmmaker, see, any film that I'm watching, uh, I have two ways of looking at it. One thing is as an audience, would I like it, and second thing is as a filmmaker, would I like it.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of things, what happens is, as a filmmaker we may love a film, but as an audience we don't like it so much.
Yeah.
And as an sometimes as an audience we love a film, as a filmmaker maybe it is a little weak on the technical side,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But you still can connect to the story even though it's not told the way you probably would have wanted it to be told. Like we feel like, Arey, yaar, the story is a little loose but it's a good story kind, but you're probably your uncle, aunt, mom, dad, they may love the film
Yeah, yeah.
because the story speaks to them.
Mm.
So yes, I think this film Rama Rama Ray hits the sweet spot when it comes to as an audience
Mm.
and as a filmmaker. So first I'll talk about as an audience. So if I'm talking about the film as an audience, I think uh, this film has a beautiful social message, and and they have not tried to shove it in your face. Like it's not like a moral of the story is kind of a film, but it's still like it makes you think. So it basically tells you the very thin line between good and bad that exists between, like, that gray area between good and
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
So the entire film takes place in that gray area. So even the bad guy is not bad, the good guy is not good. And it shows like how everyone has that particular thing, has all those kindness and greed and sadness and happiness, the whole spectrum. Everyone has it, and I think this film shows it pretty well. uh, so as an audience I think that, and then a few references that they've given. There is a beautiful song.
Mahabharat, right?
Yeah. Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna and Arjuna talk. They've made a song on that, but it is in context with the
Yeah,
film. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
not. Yeah. So I think as an audience, I like it for that.
Mm-hmm.
And as a filmmaker, if I have to tell why I like the film, is basically because the way they have chosen the locations, the way they have, like for example, I was looking at one of the interviews of the director. So what he said was, they spent, if I'm not wrong, they've spent almost a month roaming around entire Karnataka just to find a road, just to find a village, and a stretch of road which didn't have light poles.
Oh.
So if you see the entire film, right, from the point A where the driver starts to the point B where it ends, I wouldn't say where it ends and all that, but uh, where it ends, there is not even a single light pole on the road, and they have chosen it that way because they wanted to, like, show it that it is a complete deserted place,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the kind of a place where this uh, person, I don't know whether I can give away a lot of it, but then maybe if just to give a
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
context, uh, it's about a convicted criminal
Mm.
who escapes jail, and he runs away, and he finds himself along with along this guy who has to hang him, and he's going to the jail.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
this guy, the movie starts with this guy running away from the jail, and this hangman, a retired hangman, who gets a letter from the government telling you have to please come to the this thing. There is one last job that you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
and this entire journey is the hangman reflecting whether what he did for a living was right and all those things. And on the other side, the convict who ran away, he thinks that okay, what he did was right and wrong and things like that. And there are many other characters which come in and go out, and things like that. So
Mm.
yes, so that is one of the things. And another thing is, every character which is coming in the film has a very unique role to play. It's not just for the sake, like, chalo, we'll have to put it there.
Mm.
So I think as a filmmaker, as a writer, I think the writer and the director have thought about each character's role in the film, and how they should come in, when they should come in, and
Mm.
what is their
Mm.
significance to these main characters. So I think that way Rama Rama Ray is one of the best films I can recommend for a person who wants to be a filmmaker.
He's
Mm.
also a fairly young
Because
director, also, right? This guy.
yes, yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. He's a very young. That's what I said. Like right now, there is a breed of directors who have
Mm.
come in. who are pretty young,
Yeah.
and they are, uh, if I can go so far to say, they are like fearless directors who actually execute their vision without getting into the mainstream and trying want to be like the mainstream so-called commercial
Mm-hmm.
filmmakers. And a lot of people, like for example, if we're talking about Punit Rajkumar Productions right now, PRK, uh, a lot of people like those are also supporting this newcomers because of OTT,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it would be very difficult for these films to survive uh, when it comes to theater, because I remember Rama Ramare was released in theaters after it won a national uh,
Mm-hmm.
award, but it stayed only for a week or something. Like I remember wanting to watch it, but by the time I went there the movie wasn't there.
Oh.
uh, but now since OTT is there, you can actually like okay sit and watch the entire film,
Mm-hmm.
like because this is uh, not a movie which you'd like to go on a weekend with your family and watch, because you wouldn't want the disturbance. At least me, I would want to watch this kind of film, like sit and like absorb the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if I have to talk about my next film, which is Lucia. Yes, so if you see Rama Ramare and if you see Lucia, they are stark opposite in terms of the way they've shot and the way
Mm-hmm.
they look. Uh, I think Sanjeet, you have watched both
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
films, so I think you know. But again, they are also made like both are made on a shoestring budget, and I think for a person who wants to be a filmmaker, it's a beautiful masterclass on how any genre can be dealt and very cleverly and can be made under a budget. Most of us, what happens is either we aim too high in terms of what we want to
Mm-hmm.
direct and what we want to do, or either it's like the budget. Oh, I can't do this film in this budget.
Hmm.
I think both of these stories are like an example of even a genre like Lucia, which is borderline fiction kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
like fantasy fiction type of a thing. Like I wouldn't say
Like
fantasy, but then it's
psychological.
still it's yes, psychological,
Yeah.
yes. So yes, so as an audience, again, if I have to talk about it, uh, it was again one of those films in Kannada which changed the game, I would say. Like people never thought a Kannada film,
Mm-hmm.
can be made which on a subject like
Yeah. I
this.
think it was crowdfunded also at that point.
Yes, it
Right?
was. Yes, it was one of the first films. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely, it was one of the first films which was crowdfunded at that time.
Mm-hmm.
People, yeah, that concept also was like really new at that time.
Hmm.
Crowdfunding and things like that. Uh, and even for the director Pawan Kumar, if you go to his YouTube channel or Instagram page, even he speaks about it. Like he had to do a lot of new things to achieve what he wanted to do. Like for example, this film they used something called as a helmet cam.
Hmm.
Okay. Again, now by helmet cam we think, oh, something Hollywood like technology where we saw like this is basically they strapped a helmet and like they welded in the entire frame to it, and they put a camera in front of it
Mm-hmm.
just to shoot the bike part and things and a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
uh, so I think just to if you want this particular shot, and you have to think how to get it. I think that is one of the thing. And in terms of story,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the way he has shown the difference between two, like one track goes in complete monochrome and one track goes in color.
Hmm.
Okay. And most of the people think, at least people who watch it for the first time will think, you know this is real or that is real or something like that. Only at the end you come to know, okay, what is actually happening in the story and what is real. And he has maintained that very surreal type of a uh,
Mm-hmm.
what is the word Sanjeet uses?
Fever dream.
Yeah, fever dream. Yes, fever dream kind of thing in the film. I think that is the reason I like this
Mm-hmm.
film.
Yeah.
Uh,
Should we talk about
uh,
one more? Like
yeah.
any one more you would recommend?
Yes. I forgot which four I spoke about.
Ulidavaru.
First thing was Lucia, Rama Ramare, and
Hmm.
Ulidavaru. Yes, I'll quickly speak about. Actually, Ulidavaru Kandante. Most of the people
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
have seen. So I think I will talk about Rangitaranga.
Okay.
Uh, so Rangitaranga is another film which is a proper thriller,
Hmm.
okay, suspense
Yeah,
thriller,
yeah.
uh, and again it was one of the it was directed by Nirup Bandari. No, wait, Anup
Anup.
Bandari.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nirup Bandari is the
Hmm.
actor. Yeah, Anup Bandari. Uh, and yeah, Nirup Bandari acted in that. He's
Yeah,
his
he's his
brother.
brother. Yeah.
So yes, so they took this very old. If you see Prakash Rai's films, okay, for people from Tamil Nadu, I know it's Prakash Raj, but for us it's Prakash Rai.
Hmm.
Okay, uh, yes, there was a serial called Gudda the Bhuta,
Hmm.
which is pretty famous in Karnataka region. Okay, again that's a horror series which is way old.
Hmm.
So they drew a lot of similarities from there, and they made this film. So probably that is the reason I
Hmm.
like it, and also because it's a very well made suspense thriller. You know, even though it has jump scares, I'm not telling it doesn't have jump scares, but then I think they are not they're sparingly used,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and it's more about the story, you know, more about than scaring people is there, of course it is there. You can't make a suspense thriller horror kind of a film without scaring, you know, jump scares
Hmm.
or
Hmm. Hmm.
things
Hmm,
like
hmm.
that. There will be, but they have not overdone it, which was the case in most of the Kannada film up until that period.
Okay.
So I think this was more like a fresh wave of film.
Hmm.
I guess yeah. So all these three films which I spoke about, were all like, you know, genre defining films for Kannada industry after a long time. It's not like no film has been made before that which was not good. Like for example, the film which I was talking about, the name itself is Shoe. Okay,
Hmm.
it was a genre defining film at that point when it came out, but then after it came out there were like so many copies made that it just didn't appeal to
Hmm.
anyone.
Hmm.
So I think Rangitaranga redefined, like it churned the entire genre for Kannada industry, and
Hmm.
it started things again. So yeah, I think if I had to pick, these are the three films that I would recommend to people who want to
Hmm.
watch. Of course, a lot of people will, you know, have difference of opinion when it comes to, like, you know, why haven't you spoken about Ulidavar Kandante or Kirik Party or um,
What is the scene
okay.
with Kirik Party? Like I don't.
So Kirik Party, yeah. So Kirik Party, you want to know why Sanjeet has not watched it?
Yeah.
Okay, Sanjeet is scared of college movies because
Oh.
it reminds him of his college days.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. So Sanjeev has swore on his deathbed that he will
I
never
swore.
watch college movies. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, sir.
yeah.
Whatever
But
you say.
now the only thing is we have to like strap Sanjeev to a chair, like, and play the film, which we plan to do
Very
soon.
soon, sir.
Okay. Done. Done.
Yeah, very soon.
Also, let me just ask you, sir. Like, what is your opinion on? Like right now, if you see the biggest Kannada film is KGF, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I think the second
yeah.
part is coming out maybe later this year, if it's possible.
October.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So,
yes.
what's your take on that? Like, is it a good thing for the industry and all? Or?
No, it's definitely a good thing for the industry. Like I mentioned in the beginning,
Hmm.
right? These kind of films, uh, even though they are like, you know, out and out commercial films
Yeah.
and everything, they still they are the only films which have that, you know, have the power to actually push and break the door.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
smaller films can't. So when once this opens the door for the outside world to come in, then, you know, smaller films can take advantage of that.
Hmm.
Nobody is going to watch, nobody sitting in UP or Bihar until and unless they are, a proper film buffs. I don't think a normal single screen audience
Hmm.
or a multiplex audience sitting in UP, Bihar or Haryana or Kashmir or anywhere, or Sikkim or anywhere would watch, Rama Rama Re. Or I don't think Rama Rama Re would reach there also.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, so I think films like KGF will do that job for they'll muscle their way through the entire clutter, and get the Kannada industry
Hmm.
and put it like, chalo ye bhi hai.
Right, right, right.
And then people will slowly walk in and like, okay, let's see what's beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And even though KGF is, I still consider it as one of like a commercial, out and out commercial film. I think Prashant Neel, the director, is one of the best directors uh, in Kannada industry at this point in time,
Hmm.
because the way he shows thing, he knows to balance between, he knows the balance between a good film and an out and out dialogue based, fight based, romance based film.
Hmm.
So he knows the balance.
Hmm.
It's like a good filmmaker who also tries to do a commercial film kind of thing.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But Sanjeev, what do you think of the first KGF? Because I already know what you thought.
What about KGF?
Yeah.
I mean, what to even say about it?
Okay. Fine.
Salam Rocky bhai, that's it.
Yeah. We'll end on that song.
Hey, what about promotion? Da?
Oh, okay. So,
Oh yeah, you people like call me here, and then
Yeah.
you're not talking about my film.
okay.
First,
Yeah.
we have to tell people that sir paid us for this.
Yeah, this is a paid promotion
By MX Player.
by MX Player.
So, Karthik say no.
No, it's not. It's not.
I think
Yeah.
Stop lying.
you might be able to explain better, Sanjeev. Like, I don't know every detail about it. You can.
Arey, what detailed?
I mean, you're a part of it, so you can.
That is why I shouldn't be talking about it, no?
Okay, so these guys have a short film that they shot maybe. How long back did you shoot this?
2019
Okay, so 2
Yeah,
years
before,
back.
just before the world went into a lockdown,
lockdown.
Yeah,
so
and
it's still fresh.
right, and it's releasing on MX Player, so you can actually watch it on MX Player. So yeah, can we know
No,
some
it's
more
there. It's there.
details?
It's playing. It's playing.
It's
It's
playing.
playing
It's
right
playing.
now.
It's playing.
Yes,
Okay.
it's streaming right now on MX Player,
Yeah.
and the name of the short film is called "Stranger in the City,"
Yeah.
and it's about a person who takes up a job, a traveler kind of job, because he likes traveling. But then over time, things change, and his life becomes mundane. And this one journey which he takes again, like one place which he goes to and meets a couple of people there, which gets him, you know, where he wants to be. So we have tried to make it like a very feel good, slow burn kind of film. Uh, yes,
Okay.
Go
I
watch
think
it.
yes.
So
Please go watch it.
please go check it out. It's freely available on
Yes.
MX Player on their site. And yeah, I think we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
second.
yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
if you like the film, please you can contact me also, or Sanjeet, and let us know what you thought about the film and how you felt about the film. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sanjeet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Is that it?
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for joining, guys. I mean, we talked about a lot. Yeah, I mean, as we said, we talked a lot about the Kannada industry, Kannada movies, and yeah, I think just like we
Kannada
said,
Industry 101.
yeah, Kannada 101, and we talked about like somebody had asked the question, right, like about like decoding films and all. And we were talking about herd mentality. So I mean, that's like that dictates how people view films these days, actually.
Yeah.
So I think what's happening is like a lot of these regional films are getting ignored. Like if you see, like say older Hindi films or all of that. I
Right,
think
right.
like what seems to be happening is like whatever is popular on OTT, like that's what people watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's like real value in just like seeking out some of these older films, like because they're not bad. Like maybe some of them don't hold up to like today's standards, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth checking out. You know, like all the regional films. So
Maybe it's because there have been so many copies of those good films. We feel when we go back and watch them, we feel like, "Arey, ye to already we have seen so many
Yeah,
films
yeah,
like
yeah.
this." So we
Yeah.
should keep in mind that they were the original ones, like they started it.
Right, even if you see like, old Hollywood films and all, like you see like a 50s film, some of those have been like done to death. Like the same theme has been
True,
repeated, the
true,
same plot.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of see it from the perspective of, okay, this is the first time this has been done.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, that is the way you kind of watch these older films. Like even if you see like older, like say Kamal Hassan films and like Malayalam films. And yeah, I mean, Sanjeet has talked about who's that guy from Hindi?
Shyam Benegal.
Yeah, Shyam Benegal and who made Party?
Govind Nihalani.
Yeah,
Even Satyajit Ray's films.
true. So yeah, I mean, that's just what I wanted to say. Like, just go check out these films, like if they are available to you. And yeah, any closing thoughts, sir?
No closing thoughts as such, but thank you for calling me here, and thank you for making me, asking me to talk about Kannada film industry. Because me being a Kannadiga, for a lot of Kannadigas, it's really hurtful when
Yes, sir.
our films are not included when it comes to when people talk about good films.
Good
But
regional films or whatever.
yes,
Yeah.
good regional films. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think even Kannada film industry has a lot to offer. Only thing is we as of now, like, we're just starting to get that reach, which probably Malayalam film and Tamil and Telugu films have already got at this point.
Yeah.
So yes, please do watch Kannada films. We have beautiful films,
Yes.
and yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, watch our film also, please. It's in Hindi though,
Yeah.
but watch it.
People will watch it, sir.
Okay.
Only to the people who stayed till this point.
Yeah, only yeah. Do one thing. Cut this and put it in the front. Okay.
Okay, sir. Reels
Yeah.
will make, sir.
Yeah.
Reels.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
so that's the podcast. Thank you guys. Keep
Follow us
listening.
on Spotify.
Follow us on
Follow us
Spotify,
on-
Instagram. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Khatam.
When you're in the dark and you want to see, you need a electricity. Flip that switch and what do you get? You get a electricity. Every room can now be lit with just a electricity.